Welcome to the ShiftCare Learning Centre. In today's session, we're going to be taking a look at NDIS provider travel. So we'll firstly take a look at the difference between labour and non-labour travel costs, then show you how ShiftCare interprets travel costs within the price books. We'll set up provider travel within ShiftCare to cover those labour costs, and finally just show you how to roster and what the invoicing looks like for provider travel once that's been set up. There's two different types of provider travel that you can use. There's a labour cost component where you charge the client based on transportation time. Generally, this is scheduled into ShiftCare as part of a split shift. So you might have half an hour of travel time, then you'll move into the shift, and then you'll have a final half an hour at the end of the shift for additional travel time. Within the NDIS framework, there's a maximum of 30 minutes claimable for areas within MMM 1 to 3. MMM is Modified Monash Model, and MMM 1 through to 3 is generally metropolitan areas, regional centres and large rural towns, and 4 to 5 is usually medium rural towns and small rural towns. So you'll just have to refer to the Modified Monash Model to determine the amount of hours that are claimable for travel time when you're doing your rostering. There's also the non-labour cost component of a shift. This is generally based on the kilometres that have been travelled, and it uses the provider travel non-labour cost support item, which generally contains the 799 number within the reference, and there's an example of it there, the example code there. So when you're doing your provider travel, you can actually combine the labour cost and the non-labour cost components within a shift. So you might want to charge for the travel time, but you might also want to bill the client and also pay your staff for the kilometres that are being travelled on that shift. So we'll show you how to set those up within ShiftCare and how they look within the rostering. To show you what this looks like within ShiftCare, I've just got a copy here of the price book for assistance with self-care activities, and you can see the difference between the labour and non-labour pricing within the price book. So on the left-hand side here, we have the per hour rates, and these can also be charged for provider travel as labour costs. And on the right in green, we've got the price per kilometre. So these are for provider travel when you're charging a per kilometre rate for non-labour costs. Let's move over to ShiftCare now, and you can see here I've created a shift for Gerald. If I go to Advanced Edit, you can see that I've made a shift from 9 AM to 7 PM. And what I really want to do here is charge for half an hour of travel time at the beginning of the shift and another half an hour at the end of the shift. The way the price books are set up at the moment, there's no way to sort of determine what's travel and what's the shift. So if I was to close this and then invoice for this shift, I'll just go to the shift date and we'll generate the invoice. You can see that the shift invoice shows the half an hour at the beginning and the half an hour at the end, but it doesn't really show the client the travel components of the shift. So what we want to do here is actually put a travel component at the beginning and the end of this invoice just to show the client what they're being billed for. In order to show the travel component within the invoicing and on the actual roster itself, what we're going to do is actually duplicate the price book to show provider travel. If you go into account on the left-hand side and then into prices, you just need to locate the price book that you've downloaded. So in this particular instance, I'm looking at assistance with self-care activities. And what I'm going to do is copy this price book. So just click on copy on the right-hand side here. This will open up a dialog window here and it'll have copy at the end. I'm just going to replace that with provider travel. And I'm going to click on copy just on the bottom right here. So what this will do is it's going to completely duplicate that price book. And as you can see here, I've now got another price book with provider travel listed at the very end there with all the same pricing all ready to go. So if I go back into the scheduler now and go back into my shift, I'll click on Advanced Edit. I've now got the ability to add the provider travel components to that shift at the start and at the end. So if I save that shift now and we'll go back into invoices, just select the date and we'll generate that invoice. You can now very easily see on the invoice we've got the provider travel component listed, the amount of hours that were assigned to the provider travel in both instances, as well as the standard shift time. So it's going to make it a lot easier for you to show your clients that you're billing for provider travel when you're doing your rostering and creating your invoices within ShiftCare. We hope you enjoyed this session on NDIS provider travel. For further information or assistance, you can email us at support@shiftcare.com. We've got really great online chat when you log into ShiftCare, and all of our help articles are available at help.shiftcare.com.